So guys, it's Saturday morning, about 10 o'clock. Just at the shop right now, and just waiting for Amanda to get here. We're going to go and we got some running around we got to do. So thought I would sell one of these pockets here and show you. These are CQB pockets, and it's actually the very first pouch I ever made. First style of mag pouch, and this will hold two M4 mags, 3 MP5 mags side by side, a pair of clamped MP5 mags, a full-size military smoke grenade, or 16 rounds of buckshot on one of our 16-round 12-gauge pull-out trays. And it does all of that perfectly. These pockets are closed with Velcro and Fastex. In the very early days, we did them Velcro or Fastex. And when we started really making our vests, we called them vests back there. There was no zipper vest or anything. It was really a LBV, load-bearing vest, load-bearing harness. And if you guys search special operations equipment, CQB vest, patrol vest, rallyman vest, surefire instructor vest, or light fighter vest, you will see some of those vests that we built. Now these pouches nowadays are all Velcro and Fastex, and they were, 20 years ago too. The first ones were either or. But the idea was that with Fastex, you had more security of the items, and Fastex is quieter. Once you're in your area of operation, you could unclip it. So like for swimming in, diving in, shit like that, you had the Fastex security. Skydiving stuff, shit like that. Once you're in your area of operation, you thought you might have to change mags or whatever, there might be a gunfight, you could unclip the Fastex and just run Velcro. And then for noise discipline, if you didn't want the Velcro, you could put an opposing piece of Velcro over it, thus killing the Velcro, and just run Fastex. But what we found was, freezing environment, if that Velcro got wet and froze, once you ripped it open, it would never reseal. So you still had the Fastex. If you got blood and viscous fluids and shit, especially like kelp, shit off kelp and barnacles, hulls of ship, if it got in the Velcro didn't work as well. So you still had the Fastex options. So these ones are actually, it says these are patrol mags. These look big for patrol mags. I'm saying somebody fucked up and these are not patrol mags. And it says with pistol mag pouches. Anyways, the patrol mag basically looks the same, but it's an inch wider. So the patrol mag will hold 3 M16 mags side by side, or 2 M14 G3 or FAL mags. So you can do 308 or 5.56. Now the 5.56 mags index facing forward, whereas the 308 mags sit sideways. Now the 308 mags sit a little low in the pocket for the patrol, which I'm pretty sure this is not a patrol pocket. The patrol pocket is a little bit lower, about a ½ inch lower and an inch wider, as you see here. And I've already got the back pieces sewn on. I've got a bunch. I'm just going to do one of these here, and I might run out of time even. We'll see. So other than that, they're the same parts, other than the main body, and then same time to build it and everything. This one's going to have pistol mags on the side. Now the pistol mags, you can put pistol mags in them, or you can put a multi-tool, Surefire light, Leatherman tool, small monocular, anything like that. And those are Fastex closure on the side. We used to offer Velcro or Fastex. But we eventually just adapted that everything on the small utility pockets on the side, the small pistol mag pouches, would just be Fastex. And then you can dummy cord them in too with some 550 cord. You can run around. Almost all the items you're going to put in there have a little lanyard hole. And then you can run some 550 to your Fastex buckle and lock those right in place. They have given me no Fastex here. I gotta get some buckles. When we started out doing this, there were no colored hardware. Everything we were doing, like even on our desert vest for the seals, it was a light tan color, and we had black hardware. Black edge tape, even black webbing. And then even when we could get the colored webbing, there was no colored plastic at all. So, this is the lid for the pistol mag. And you'll see a lot of guys building these, like we used to build these, and we would box X them and all kinds of shit. People don't realize that that box X that they were copying from Eagle and all those guys, I was doing it too. That came because their tackers sewed in that pattern. That wasn't a lady sitting there sewing that pattern. So in a lot of ways, the guys that came up after those big factories, trying to emulate what those big factories were doing, they were actually much more skilled. The guys running those big factories, they didn't sew that shit. Now, John Carver owned Eagle. He could sit down and actually sew. And for you guys that don't know, I've got some, I'll go and I drink Swinny Aminos, which is this. And that fucking powder, I don't know if you can see it. Like once it's on you and you try to wipe it off, it fucking stays there. It takes a damp cloth to get that shit off. John Carver owns Atlas 46. And he's still around. Sold Eagle to ATK. And then his son, he had a no-compete clause, so his son opened a company called First Spear, which some of you guys know of. Awesome quality shit. That's his boy, runs that company. I believe still owns it. And John was around there some, and he has started, they were in Idaho for a while, and now he's back in Fenton, Missouri, where Eagle was all along, and runs a company called Atlas 46. And basically he makes tactical gear like this, for construction guys. He does, you know, holsters for your DeWalt drills and retention lanyards, the same shit we're building today, the same stuff. We've even played with some of it ourselves. But he was smart in building basically the same shit, just for a different industry. He just crossed deck a little and makes an awesome product. Like, I even own some of his shit. So if you guys are construction dudes, and I get asked a lot for that stuff, hey, can you build me a tool belt or something, you know, for framing, framing tool belt holds screws and nails and shit. It's not our thing, and we're too busy doing what we do, but by all means, don't hesitate to check them out, because they're fucking, like old school Eagle. That's basically the people that were behind Eagle. That started it, founded it, started it in his garage because his son and him were racing road race motorcycles, that shit. And they needed some gear, so they're building it, some gear, and their neighbor was a police officer, SWAT dude, wanted some gear made. So they made some bags and some holsters and shit early on, and that actually turned into Eagle, just from that right there. But anyways, these pockets, they were tacking that shit on because their tacker sewed in that programmable pattern. And leading edge, this would be the leading edge. It's the front part. This is the leading edge, and then that's your back edge. The leading edge takes all the brunt. So the tacker would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, thus crossing the leading edge the second time. X backs, slide over, come up, and then back over. So it caught the leading edge 3 times, and the back edge had 2 lines of stitching. All that other shit in between, that didn't carry any strength because it wasn't perpendicular to the force. Those were just travel stitches in a nice X pattern. So we were trying to emulate that. We didn't know why we were doing it. We were just doing it because the big guys were doing it. So now I actually tack 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, depending what it is. These don't get any tug on them. But we have guys say, hey man, I got an email from a dude yesterday, said he was falling off a cliff and his rig caught on something on the edge, and he was dangling over the edge. And he says he believes that actually saved his life. It's a good 100-foot fall where he was. I'll find that email and post that on the Facebook page. But we have literally over time, we have hundreds of emails like that where guys say, you know, their shit caught on something and kept them from falling. Now that can be a bad thing also. So, you know, take it for what it is. Here's my inch now. So right now I'm making the pull tabs here for the mag pouch, the closure tabs, and I'll just box around here, and that's the back edge there I'm sewing, and then this right here will be the leading edge, and I'll come back and I'll actually tack that just to lock it in. There's not a real right or wrong as long as you got 2 passes and then a couple tack stitches, but SOE, everybody says it's bomb proof, everybody says it's overkill, and really nowadays I just sew that shit kind of out of habit. There is definitely more stitching. There goes that pin again, man. And then I make the pull tab here, and this pull tab is really just here to keep the buckle from falling off. And that just tacks that down. Now, a bar tacker would do this too, but we make so many different parts, and I just don't like getting up to go to a bunch of different machines. This is how I've always made this product, and this product here I have made for 27 years. And this has not changed at all. This is the exact same product I have always made all along from day one. So, this is the magazine closure for the main mag pouch. And I'll just tack that in, because when I sew this on here, this is actually going to be sewn. It's going to be tacked on 5 more times. So there's that. There's those. And now I need my... I'm missing... Oh no, I fucked that up. That was one of those. That was one of the pistol mag ones. So I actually do need to step that one down. And a hint for you guys, I know there's a lot of sew guys that watch me. The biggest injuries I've had doing it, everybody's like, you ever sew your finger? Nope. But I've sliced my fingers open to the point I've had sutures here in my fingers and shit multiple times, and that basically shuts you down. I've tried to continue sewing with my finger immobilized and shit while I had sutures in it, and what you find is that those do not heal at all if you are moving them. 10 days later, 14 days later, you go to get those sutures out and that wound is not closed. I cut the fuck out of my hand real bad cutting somebody's Bianchi holster apart, trying to fix it. Got some sutures. We had a SOT Tech 18 Delta guy from SEAL Team 3 was at the house. He put sutures in my hand next door. Oh no, it was a internal medicine. It was a surgeon next door. Put the sutures in my hand and said, hey, you know, here's some antibiotics, take these antibiotics, blah, blah, blah. Well, I continued to work for 8 days, and when we went to take those sutures out, of course that wound was not healed. And there was an 18 Delta dude at the house from SEAL Team 3 when we took the sutures out, he took them out. And he said, man, this is really bad, it's really red, it's definitely infected, it is not healed, the wound is totally open. He said, at this point, you're kind of fucked. So we took betadine, heated it up in the microwave, and a brand new toothbrush. And he goes, this is going to hurt like hell. And just cleaned the wound out. And you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it in the, comes right across here. I still have the scar from it. But it was totally open. So he's just gently betadine, cleaned the wound out. And he said, you're going to need to do this, you know, a couple times a day. So we did, and it never did hurt because it was so swollen. I didn't have any feeling in it from it was so swollen. But after a few days, it debrided that dead tissue, and it closed itself up. I've got more of a scar from it. But so the biggest injuries I've had from this are self-inflicted. Cutting people, and it's all from cutting people's used gear apart. And really, kind of got to do that shit in the beginning to make your name or whatever, but I never really had to do any of that shit because we were always busy building the shit we were making. I did it mostly for SEALs and recon dudes and, a few SWAT guys that, like family friends by then. So we continue to do it. Nowadays, guys come in wanting shit altered and changed. We don't do it. Plus, like all that dirty gear, we always had CS all over everything, no matter what. You were always fucking getting CS in your face and shit from cutting dirty gear apart. And there was always sand. And that is the biggest toll on any of these machines, is sand and fine particulate stuff. And no matter how well they cleaned it out, we'd pressure spray it, make them dry it, and all kinds of shit. No matter how clean you got that shit, it was always fucking not clean. But here I am fucking these up. I just put this one like a pistol and put that one like a rifle. So this one's got to come off again. And there's a reason for the Velcro being stepped down on the two side ones, and you'll see that in a minute. But a lot of guys try to emulate this pocket. Most companies making rifle mag pouches don't make a boxed pocket like this. Basically, you have the back of the pocket is whatever they're sewing it onto, and they basically sew a tunnel, so the corduroy down the sides for your mag slot, and the back of this pocket has no back. The back is actually the armor carrier or the panel of the rig they're sewing it onto. And they pleat the bottoms and sew it down, like we do a light pouch or a pistol mag pouch. These actually are boxed, and the way they sit, there's actually 9 layers of corduroy on the bottom where mags touch bottom, and there's actually 9 layers of material where they're sewn together on the sides, and they're sewn together with 5 lines of stitching. And then when they're put on an actual LBV, they get sewn on with 5 more lines of stitching. So there's 10 lines of stitching holding that rig together. Do you need it? No. 2 lines will hold the rig no problem. When I sew my personal shit together, like when we made the first super kit bags and stuff, I sewed them single layered. Like we flew to Las Vegas multiple times with them. We were throwing them off of buildings and shit because I wanted to see what it really took to hold a bag together. And I've got bags right now that are 20 years old in here with single lines of stitching in them. Do you want to know that your bag will never fall apart though, and that it's built beyond what it needs to be? I do. So when we build our bags, they're sewn together 3 times. These rigs here have 5 lines of stitching holding the pockets closed. Hell no, you don't need it. But they have 5 lines of stitching also holding the pocket onto the rig. And that's why you can take our rigs. We used to take them all the time because you'd have some dude come up and go, "Why is your vest?" And back then it was $200. "Why is your vest $200? I can get this other one for, $100, or I can get this surplus one for, $75. And we would take them and put them on a dip and chin bar. We'd carabine them by the drag handle. And let the 2 biggest dudes in the crowd, you get on these 2 pockets on this side, and you hang on to these 2 pockets and do pull-ups. Do as many pull-ups as you can. You won't even ever hear a stitch pop on our rigs. I said, now go down to one of them surplus rigs or whatever you got down there and do some pull-ups on those rigs. Not only will you not do any pull-ups on those rigs, they won't, you'll rip those rigs apart. Man, I've got the wrong fucking Velcro on here yet again. Although that'll be okay. We don't build a lot of these pockets anymore. We haven't built them in a super long time, as a matter of fact. And talking just really fucks me up here. Another thing, like if you've got your Velcro, if you got your stitching just hanging there with those threads, not a big deal, but those threads can work themselves back out, which is why I burn them. I don't really burn it to make it look pretty so you don't have those threads. I burn them and smear those so that there's no way that stitch can pop out, because if one stitch pops out, especially right here where this Velcro is being held on, that's why that's why we do that, because this will grab those threads and it can eventually work those out of there. That's why I have 3 lines of stitching here. But in addition to that, they're burnt and smeared off so that that thread can never get pulled out of there. Okay. there's that. This one I fucked up. Sorry guys, I've spent more time cutting this shit apart. I could have almost had this pocket done. Well, not done. These pockets take about, if you're doing them in production, they take about 20 minutes to build each pocket, probably. But you get what you pay for with this stuff. And with this, you're paying for ability and manpower. It's not the material. It's not. Yes, we have more material and everything in there, but it's about time. And we really don't. For the time, if you add the time into our shit, we do not make. We're not charging enough for these pockets because you can buy shitty pockets on the market now for what we pay, what we charge for these real pockets. Okay. So from the bottom here, you can kind of see that even though this is a shorter pull tab, this Velcro is longer. It's because it's going to fold into the corners. That's why we do that. That's why I do that, I should say. I've designed everything we make, well, at this point, probably 95% of what we make. I have actually sewed the first I've prototyped them, designed them, and put them into production. Nowadays, I've got some little freebie pocket or something I want, and those come from a lot of places, the ideas. And I'll just go, here, take this pocket and reverse engineer it and do it how we would do it. Okay, so these are the lids for the pistol mag pouches. And the CQB pocket, which this is, you have less room to work with, so it's kind of forgiving. I mean, it's kind of unforgiving because you have to leave enough room still to be able to sew the pocket closed on the side. And you'll see this in a second. So this is all our pocket. Where I say our pocket is all one piece, front, back, bottom, sides, and then there's a second liner piece. And you'll see here how you get all those pieces here, the way it folds. It's like putting a puzzle together. So I have pistol mag pouches I made last night before I left when I started this. I wasn't planning on doing this video. I'm almost out of time on this too. I've only got 30 minutes on the phone and we're 20 minutes into this already. So we'll tack this in here. And I'm right-handed, so I'm easier sewing with my product on the left. Again, leading edge, more stitching on the top than the bottom, because that's where you're going to catch the brunt of all of it. And then I'm going to kind of find center where my material meets, and I'm going to pleat this in. I'm going to tack this down here. No, I'm not. Sometimes I try to get fast and not clip that thread, but clipping the thread, that extra second always saves me time in threading the needle. And then having a machine that will lift high enough, like some of these machines won't even sew this pocket closed, because the foot won't lift. This one will. Okay, so I'm only going to tack that twice because I'm going to go back and I'm going to catch it when I put this pull tab here on, which I want on. And I just sewed it just to hold it down. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, back up to it because I want to tack this Velcro down. Now this Velcro here just has to be gone around once because it's going to go all into the seam. You're never even going to see it. I'm just tacking it down so it's out of my way when I go to make my folds. Okay, so there's that. This one that holds the main rig is going to tack right here to the bottom, and that one's going to actually get sewn. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. themselves. Yep. Oh no, we got 5 more minutes there. I think I actually just fucked this whole pocket up. I think I nipped, when I just cut that last stitch, I think I nipped the edge tape on the inside of it. In which case, this whole pocket would be trash. It would be well, it'd be a second or whatever. One of my guys would keep it for themselves is really what would happen with it. But we wouldn't send it to a customer. Yep, there's a little tiny nick right there. We could send it out and you guys would never ever see it, but we wouldn't do that. We always expect close-up photos to be taken of these, because the one time we send some shit out that's not fucking perfect will be the time some asshole with a magnifying glass. Which is what amazes me with the competitors, especially the small shops making belts and stuff. They'll send their shit out to writers and magazine articles and shit. There was a good example. Recoil Magazine did a head-to-head on a bunch of the Cobra belts, and they asked us to compete too, and I was just late sending them my shit, so they actually did a whole nother article on just ours altogether. But those guys knew that shit was going to a magazine article, so they sent the best they had to offer, and some of that stuff literally looked like fucking trash. You could see that their stitches weren't tensioned. I wonder if they had just an employee or, you know, a friend build it or something, and they never even looked at it as what it looks like. But it, they're one-man shops. Like, they built that shit knowing that was going to be under the microscope, and that's what they submitted. So when you see articles like that, you got to figure that shit in those magazines, that's the best they have to offer. So just imagine what you could get. So the way this works is this pocket folds here. So that's 4 layers of material right here. I've got another 2 here. This kicks in here at 7. 6, 7. 4. There's 6 right here. So there's 6 layers of material on the bottom where it touches bottom. And then I've got 4 layers here. And I got 5, 6, 7, and 8 where the edge tape hits. So you've got 8 layers of material holding this pocket together. I've only got a minute left on the camera here, so we'll do a part 2 sometime of making this pouch so you guys can see how it actually clips together. But that is the face. These 2 are Velcro. This is, Fastex. This is Fastex and Velcro. And then your adjustment tabs all have Velcro, so you can lock them in place and keep your tabs out of the way. And that's how all of our premier high-end shit, Rallyman pockets, CQB pockets, and you can search that at SOEtacticalgear.com. And if you go to Google Images and just search SOE Patrol Vest, you will see the vest from 20 years ago. There's guys online selling those vests right now that are 20 years old, and they carry a premium of $1,000. We sold them for $200 back then. But we're losing video here, so that's what I have for right now.